Hello world, I'm here with the Kelpbeds here, and we're going to ask them a couple questions. What are some of your guys' music influences?
You started? You're holding the mic.
Alright.
So,
I mean, I've talked about this on here before, but
Yes, this is Oster's, or Owen's, second
Hello.
time here.
I'm
He's
back.
actually my first guest, and this is the 100th video. So we're going to be making a little video on that later. But for the time being, who are your favorite?
Still very much the Strokes, lots of the Beatles, my roots, a lot of classic rock and stuff. It goes all over the place. Lots of stuff from the early 2000s, just everywhere.
No, 100%. But since I've known you, the Beatles and the Strokes have always been...
That's kind of my staple in everything surrounding me. We just saw ELO last night, and that's a big
yeah. Oh my God! What a pleasure to.
Yeah.
You know it. Yeah. But,
You wanna?
That's great. Yeah.
Take the mic.
thank you, Oster.
You're welcome.
Oster.
Pat
Pendy.
For me, and I'm gonna be speaking for my buddy Jack, who couldn't make it because he's living on the other side of the country right now. But we started the band together, and a good band that overlaps for both of us has been the Smiths throughout, since the beginning when we started the band. We both really, we look up to Johnny Marr, just with a lot of his progressions and licks. We really like the Smiths. Can't, oversay that, but The Cure, Joy Division, a lot of the post-punk guys I really like, but also, I really like David Bowie. I look up to him a lot, just for myself and my personal songwriting. I really look up to the way he does things, but that's pretty much it for me.
No, and I hear the Smiths in your progressions. Your chords, man, like there's this chord in them. I'm forgetting the song, but you just have so much influence from them.
And I didn't even like them the first time I listened to them. Jack showed me the Smiths, and I didn't get it at first. I would listen to them, and I'd be like, this is kind of like annoying to listen to. And then like suddenly, like overnight, there's a switch, and I just was in love with.
Yeah.
Like almost all of their songs, I can really admire in some way. So.
No, 100%.
It's interesting, but that's what happened for me, at least.
Well, that's fantastic.
For me, I take a lot of inspiration from the Strokes, and with my drumming, I take a lot of inspiration from like surf rock and just like groovier, like Foxtide is it's a smaller side band, but they're getting bigger. I take a lot of my inspiration from their drumming, and
like more
Strokes.
jazzy stuff.
Yeah, with like more of a groove and like a flow. I also take a lot of stuff from New Wave and
Yeah, 100%.
yeah.
Oh yeah, New Wave definitely shows.
Yeah.
No, you got a very surf rock type of like New Wave kind of stuff. I can hear that. Yeah. With that said, all you guys are part of Kelpbeds. Do you have a favorite Kelpbeds track?
You can start on this one, probably.
Probably a couple of my favorite ones are Apocalyptic Love. That's an older one, but it's really good. One of our new songs, Impossible, that's a really good one. Other Side of Town is also a good one, and probably Let's Go.
Yeah, Let's Go.
I really like the stuff that we did on our debut album that we released at the beginning of the year. I can look back on a lot of those songs and be like, this is like definitely like the best we've done so far. So I would say like Never Last and Hours, those are probably two of my favorite Kelpbeds songs. And After Time, that's just a nice, like, simple but meaningful song to me.
Yeah.
Um,
In what manner?
well, I really like the progression. It's like whimsical and melancholic at the same time.
Yeah.
That's something I really like. I also really like just I don't know, usually I struggle to find like a catchy vocal melody that would be the centerpiece of the song. And I think I really found just something easily attachable for that one that I can look back on and still, kind of latch onto the atmosphere of the song,
100%.
But yeah, and Impossible too. Like we made that song together. I think that's one of the best produced songs we've done so far, and it's just such a powerful and yet simple again
Really solid.
type of song in the structure. It has a lot of cool components that intertwine and change up and yeah. So I mean, I really like the new stuff we're doing. Can like see it growing,
Yeah.
It's cool.
So my answer is like a little different because of my perspective of coming into Kelpbeds at the beginning of the year as not starting off as just someone who's playing. I came in with an almost complete discography. At least like the only song that I've actually been a part of songwriting on has been Impossible, the one that we were just talking about.
Yeah.
So getting introduced into all the songs and seeing Kelpbeds live before I was even in the band. I think the one that stood out to me most the first time I saw Kelpbeds was Heaven and Hell. It was like I remember as soon as that one came on, everybody in the crowd started moving, and
Really?
like I remember I fell over and knocked a light over. I don't know if you remember that. But it was me and Jordan. We were right in the front at the show at the Shea Cafe.
The little
There was the little light shining on you guys, and I fell over and knocked it over.
Oh my god.
And that song stuck with me, and so that one's always gonna be really high up there. It's really fun.
The mic over.
Yeah. It's really fun to play live. But I mean, like speaking in terms of songwriting, I think of what Peter was just saying with Never Last and Hours. And how, like, they're both, I mean, the structural choices made on Never Lasts in particular, like, I remember when I was learning that one, I was so confused but, like, now it makes so much sense to me. Because at first coming in, it's like, oh, whoa, you go a little longer there, but then the next part you don't. It's all over the place in such an artistically, like, weave-in way.
Yeah.
And then the way that it transitions into Hours is just really, it's really satisfying,
Yeah.
and I always like it when songs transition into one another. It's
And on Spotify, that's the whole point.
exactly yeah. No, it's probably I think it's probably the most in my head the most intent to put into like because you can write a song and all of them are great. Honestly, the new album I was hooked when I first heard it.
Yeah.
After Time, like Peter was saying, that's one of my tops. It really the main vocal melody is really. After Time, it's really catchy.
And I feel like with Impossible, it's probably definitely the most like intricate one of Neverlasting Hours. I think it's definitely one of the most intricate songs because for every single instrument, there's multiple different parts and sections and like any song, it's like that. But it's a lot more solid and it's a lot more like thought out with like every single detail of both songs.
Yeah, seriously.
Together. Yeah, and then together they just work so well together.
No, and I feel like the biggest thing that I've noticed is a lot of it starts with you, Peter. A lot of it starts with the guitar. And I feel like that's such a crazy artistic choice because when you play this live, like people know it's coming, And I feel like that's the whole thing with Kelpbeds. You just know it's coming. You know something's gonna happen in your music, dude. So like.
Yeah, it's funny because for Never Last and Hours, I wrote it when I was at college, and I was just jamming by myself in my dorm or my apartment, but I was just really trying to write something to bring back to my friends, and I was like, all right, I got something, and then I jammed it out. And then I went into the little Hours lick, and I was like, wow, this is a completely new progression, recycling old chords that I used in Everlast.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was picturing melodies, and I was like, well, I can just do it how I did it, jamming it out. Like,
Transition,
I can
yeah.
make a cool, smooth, seamless transition if I can, just follow through with the vision that I initially got within the jam,
Well, and if you don't mind me adding in, I think what really works with Neverlast and Hours is standalone. Both of them are great songs,
Yeah.
and you can go on Spotify and just listen to one of them if you want to.
I know,
Yeah.
and it would not mess up.
And it wouldn't mess it up, but when you combine them, you have a perfect, think of songs, I think of, Blinded by the Light by Manfred Mann's Earth Band. It goes on for 7 minutes long, and it's like, oh, it's a great song, but eventually you're like, okay, it's been long enough.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to get it's been long enough if you're getting sick of it as a listener.
Or you can.
Or you can completely, I'm not saying that, because I personally enjoy every second of it when we play it, but it's that kind of, consider every option.
And there's a separation for a reason, but if you don't want the separation, it doesn't have to be there necessarily.
It could be its own thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's I think that's a fantastic combo.
And it's the only time I've been able to do that, really. I mean, I guess I haven't really tried before that, but I am very proud of that everything worked out the way I saw it in my head, because I even made the demo while I was at college. I made the saxophone part, and then I taught it to the bassist at the time.
You made the sax part.
Yeah, I think on GarageBand it's called a bassoon.
Oh, bassoon.
Yeah,
the big old.
They didn't have saxophone, so I just it sounded close enough.
I think the closest to sax is the string or the horn ensemble.
Yeah,
but it has other stuff in it.
No, but
it's
it's just fun, to have a vision and have it follow through. It doesn't always turn out the way you think it's going to, but I think that was the closest to something that I pictured everything, and then it manifested itself.
And that was peak Kelpbeds. Right now, you guys are transitioning to this new era.
Yeah.
But that, in my opinion, was just Kelpbeds at its or at least a different era, because I know there's much more to come with this.
I think it's a great end of an album, to say the least.
No, yeah, because it's the last two songs. Yeah, that's totally given. Yeah, 100%. Well, yeah, you guys have plenty of tracks to play with live, and that's another thing I want to talk about regarding your performances and how you guys have played live, and how those two songs fit in very well live. You guys recently flew out to Dartmouth College. How was that?
It was. Well, we're both gonna talk about it.
It was amazing, honestly. I mean, I had such a good time. It sucks that Joey couldn't be with us, because it would have been great to have the full Kelp sesh, but I mean...
So this is new to both of us.
So we're kind of... I mean, we've told some stories to Joey. He's heard. It was all around a crazy experience outside of Kelpbeds stuff and then inside of Kelpbeds stuff. We met with with Jack, our guitarist, who lives out there.
Yeah.
And
the original guy who wrote stuff with Kelpbeds, right?
Yeah, we founded it together.
Fantastic.
The two co-founders, Peter and Jack. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
up in Dartmouth College.
Yeah, it was great. We met with this guy, Janth, and we rehearsed one time the day before the show.
Yeah.
And we played somehow really good with only one rehearsal. I mean, it felt like it was meant to be,
I mean, yeah, it was just sort of a spur of the moment thing, because I mean, we didn't even know where we were gonna get our equipment until the day before the show when we got there. But he got the school to fund all the equipment rentals, which was insane.
Really? Wait, so not even the equipment on... That's insane.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, the
Jan
performance...
or your guitarist?
I think it was both of them.
Yeah.
They worked together to do it somehow.
There were a couple people who were involved in making that happen, but they made it happen. The fact that we borrowed equipment from people like Janth provided his kit and his bass, and then we rented a guitar and an amp, and then a PA system and a mixing board, and just the stuff that you don't usually have. Most people don't usually have.
That's fantastic.
It was really cool, and
I mean, they want you guys back again. I heard from.
I did mention.
Yeah,
it's
they
up in the
hinted
air.
to it.
They hinted to there being potentially having us back again.
Yeah.
Without it coming out of our pocket.
Yeah.
It was an interesting show. They had like a sword fighting guild that were like jousting or like sword fighting the whole time, and they were actually still sword fighting when we were done.
Dartmouth College.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was odd, but I mean, we got to play in front of new faces, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
It was fun.
Well, and the plan is if we are to do it again, we'd like to try and book more shows because we're there for a little under a week, and we only played one show, which was great. It was great that we got to do that, but
There's like a bar on campus.
there's so many
and
more
there's-
options. Yeah.
No, that would have been total.
It would have been great.
opportunity, Yeah.
And it's a different setting. It's not the San Diego scene where everyone's already seen everything.
All the bands there are basically cover bands from what we've seen.
At
and heard
Dartmouth
of.
Co-
Yeah.
Oh,
So they do
Jesus.
a lot of classic rock, which is cool. But
Mhm.
I mean, we went to like a frat party and it was pretty.
It was like
disgusting.
Santeria by Sublime and like Sweet Home Alabama.
They had like
Okay,
the
that's-
keyboards
Oh my god.
like literally like breaking the sound barrier and
The
like
keyboard.
and the vocals just like static. Like that's all you could really hear.
We had to. If you stood outside, it sounded better than inside.
Okay, but still, who wants to? Yeah. I just feel like, especially compared to San Diego, California, you go to somewhere foreign like that, and they're like, "What the hell? This is like a new scene. This is."
Yeah.
So again, if you could push their boundaries, if you're invited next time, that'd be fantastic opportunity.
Yeah.
I think it's
And,
always.
and we'd love to bring this guy
Yeah.
up too.
Oh yeah,
Seriously.
that's true, yeah,
Seriously.
yeah. No, but all right, let's have a question for Joey. You guys have a couple shows coming up, which is tonight. What's to come in the future regarding Kelpbeds? It could be recording, it could be shows, it could be anything you guys plan to do.
I feel like at this point in Kelpbeds, like Jack is at college, and so I think we'll probably continue to like try to write things and try to produce things, and still have shows and all that. But I think we would probably just try to be more in a writing phase, or just trying to get more tight while we wait to see what else might happen, and just see what comes our way. With
100%.
members or ideas or shows or whatever it is.
It's a given, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree completely because
Me too.
we've gone through a lot of bullshit. With this band. This band we've overcome a lot of gnarly stuff. Like losing people that I don't know.
Not lose.
No. Well, nobody passed away. We didn't kill anyone. We didn't murder anyone.
Just to clarify,
The bodies in the back don't have to do it.
totally didn't murder anyone.
Yeah, we share this knife.
Yeah.
For sure.
But
There's a Halloween party, just to clarify.
Yeah, that's not.
No, that's real.
That's not real blood at all.
Totally not.
But no, we yeah, I agree with everything Joey's said basically, because I mean, our synth guy Luke, he's gonna be leaving pretty soon, and he's made it clear that he's not interested, and that's fine. Everyone does their own thing, but finding new people to fill different positions is probably one of the biggest challenges, because I don't know.
It's difficult.
It's just very difficult
It's
to find
difficult.
people that are interested and will have something that
Put in the
to
work,
offer with their effort. Yeah, for sure.
100%. What I will say though, this is my first time hearing you guys, not on Spotify, But you guys have done a fantastic job. Like when you guys were setting it up, I heard your bass, I heard you drumming, I heard your melodic lines on the guitar, and I would be convinced this was the band. You know, I was so surprised when you said there was just the three of you guys coming, and I was expecting something else. But when I heard you guys, I was like, this is a band. This is a total band. Like, okay, just think of the bands with 3 members: Sublime, Nirvana, Seattle
Alkaline
Sound.
Trio.
Huh?
Alkaline Trio. I don't know if anyone.
Yeah, but like, yeah. You see,
That's a weird one to throw out there. I don't
no,
know.
but the fact that you guys sound fantastic, amazing. You guys sound amazing with just 3 people. Like, I don't know what you guys would sound like with 2, 3 other members. Like,
I mean, I've got to say, coming into Kelpbeds has been a very unique experience for me. I haven't been in a band like this before.
Yeah.
I've tried and failed. Not failed, but things come and go. And things have shifted a lot around since I've been here. I mean, Jack moving and Luke, deciding that he's ready to be moving on and stuff. It's been really interesting coming in to this, like, I mean, I've seen a lot of different, like, changes in the band.
Yeah.
But I'm really happy that I'm a part of it and that I've, been able to share this time with these guys and these brilliant minds. It's been something wonderful, and it's really, I feel like I'm getting to cut my teeth on the music scene and get a grip on what I'm trying to do, and make some awesome music at the same time.
no, you holding it down with the bass, you holding it down on drums, and you, Peter, being the heart of the band. Like, you guys are off to the races, and 2 or 3 members wouldn't hurt. Off to the races!
Off to the races!
That's an Oster track, by the way.
Oster single.
Oster
that
single.
Oster
Came
mentioned
out before the Oster album. Never will.
Off to the races.
All right, this commercial's over.
Thank you. Speaking of music and artists and bands, do you guys have any advice you could give to any aspiring bands or musicians out there?
You go, Joey. You got it.
Got it.
Honestly, in my opinion, I don't think that you should try to start anything for any of, like, the, like, fame or big shows or whatever it is, because if you start it for that reason, most of the time it's not going to go so well, and, there could be a falling out, or you could just never really get on track. But I think the most important part to keep in mind when trying to start something new is just try to have as much fun as you can, and just be have as much creativity as you can, and just really try to show who you are as a person, and a group, instead of just, like, chasing all, like, the shit you want,
100%. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, no, it's I agree with that a lot. But it's definitely about staying true to yourself and trying to discover through what you're making more about yourself and the way you. I mean, this is basically a David Bowie quote, but discovering how you coexist with the world through your music and through what you're making in your art. It's all about, self-discovery and just being your own individual. It's not about anything other than that, pretty much.
Yeah, and because at the end of the day, I mean, this is just art, and that's what people should treat it like, like, because I feel like a lot of people, they go into it with just, like, ideas of, like, oh, it's just gonna go like this, and it's kind of like a firm mindset, but it's not really how art is in any sort of form.
It's malleable and
yeah,
it's meant to.
and you create
It's always
it.
changing.
You create it through yourself and through your own decisions and all the experiences that you've gone through in your life.
Mm-hmm.
That's what art is, and that's how you create it. And I think that's very important.
100%.
I often get caught up in some of the like, worries of music, because there is a side of it where you want to be successful, you want to see the big shows, that's completely okay to have. But what I'm always being reassured, Peter is always telling me that
We're telling each other
at this point, the music always comes first. The music is going to be the most important part. As long as you believe in the music and the what you're creating, then people will believe in it too. You got to find the people who will believe in it with you, whether those are people you play alongside, whether those are people who come to your shows, or people who listen and tell you that they like it, even people who don't like it. It's everybody.
Yeah.
That's and
Yeah, and I feel like that's also a really big thing is when you take the time to create something that you love that shows everyone who you are and you really have a passion for it, that shows to other people when you're playing a show or whatever it is. People see the energy you're giving off with, like just how much effort and how much passion you're using with whatever you're creating, and people see that and it means something to them, and it means more to them than it normally would because that's relatable, and that's how people, track followers and get more like people fucking with their music because people just want to be related to,
I love that. No, people just want to be related to.
Yeah.
It's 100%.
that's like my biggest reason with the music I listen to is it's stuff that I resonate with. It's stuff that when I listen to, it's like, okay, yeah, this is in some way. It's like I feel like I'm a part of it.
Yeah.
So I think that's a lot of my mindset with making music, and I would say probably a lot of our mindset is making something that is you, but it's the you that you want to share with the world, that you want people to be able to relate to and connect with.
That's a given, yeah. 100%. Yeah. Well, you guys have given the audience a fantastic amount of insight. But, yeah, Kelpbeds, everybody. Thank you for being on the Groove Room.